listening to 98.3 FM WRLR LP, Round Lake, Illinois.
Rocking around the Christmas tree, have a happy holiday. Everyone dancing merrily in the new old-fashioned way. Hey everybody, I'm Axel. WRLR 98.3 invites you to spend a fun and festive night celebrating the season with our band, Axe and the Hatchet Men. On Friday, December 13th, at the original Sundance Saloon in Mundelein, we'll be playing a set filled with rockin' holiday tunes, as well as play a mix of our own original songs, current hits, and plenty of rock and roll. This year, we're playing in support of WRLR Community Radio, where local bands like us can get their music heard and their stories told. All ages are welcome. There's a student discount and tickets will be available at the door unless sold out in advance. You can secure your advance tickets now by contacting the station at studio@wrlr.fm or at another online seller to be announced soon. So save the date, tell your friends. Come on out to the original Sundance Saloon on December 13th for the Axe and the Hatchet Men holiday show and help keep WRLR on the air. Ho ho, hope to see you there. Happy holidays. Just hear those sleigh bells jingling, ring ting tingling too. Come on, it's lovely weather for a sleigh ride together.
Cornicchione's New York-style pizzeria in Antioch at routes 83 and 173 is another proud sponsor of WRLR Sports. Cornicchione's pizza dough is made from scratch using a family recipe that originated in Brooklyn, New York. Their dough is proofed at least 24 hours. Cornicchione's menu includes pizzas, calzones, pasta, much more. They have dine-in, carry-out, and delivery. Their number is 224-308-1499.
When I'm under, I'm weightless, floating away, and all I think about is doing it again.
Michael Swan is under the influence of his volunteer swim coach. Spending a little time coaching, he helps Michael stay off drugs. Be a coach, a mentor, a volunteer. No matter what it is, you have something to offer. Log on to helpyourcommunity.org or call 877-KIDS-313 and be an influence on the kids in your community. Brought to you by the Office of National Drug Control Policy and the Ad Council.
Today's sports broadcast is made possible by O'Keefe, Lewis, and Bruno PC. Proud to sponsor another season of Lake County High School sports broadcasts on WRLR 98.3 FM. Helping home buyers, sellers, and others with real estate transactions. O'Keefe, Lewis, and Bruno PC can be reached at 847-675-4790.
You're listening to 98.3 FM WRLR LP, Round Lake, Illinois.
Hello, everyone. It's Thursday, December 12th, 2019, and you're listening to Lake County Sports Talk, also known as the John and Joe Show. We are the only source for sports talk exclusive in Lake County, Illinois. I'm John Kerr, sports writer for Tribune Media and the Pioneer Press. I'm joined in the WRLR Round Lake Beach Studios by the Joe portion of the John and Joe Show. As always, Daily Herald prep columnist and Channel 7 television personality.
Every now and then, yeah. Happy holidays. It was December. We were just talking about shopping for the holidays. Rusty's with us today. No, I haven't started yet. How about you?
Yeah, Rusty's on the controls today. Norm is on vacation. I think he's out chasing some bootleg copies of the Allman Brothers Band live concert somewhere. So we are here by the voice of Lake County basketball and WRLR sports director, Rusty Silber. Hey, Rusty.
I'm doing fine. You know where Norm's at? He's in Florida.
Oh, that's right.
He's enjoying the warmth, the heat.
Why would you want to escape this weather we have here? But no.
Wouldn't you trade that idea this week?
You know, if I
trade spots, yeah.
Yeah, but you know something, man? We're talking basketball here. It's an indoor sport. Who cares about the outdoors? I mean, but, Norm can enjoy that beachside view that he has down there somewhere in Boca Raton. But we're inside here at the WRLR studios at Round Lake Beach talking some basketball. And let's quickly kind of go down the rundown of the show here today. We're switching gears. We're going to be talking boys hoops here today for the first half hour. In a couple of minutes, we'll be joined by Matthew Ambrose.
Yeah.
Stevenson senior guard and recent Division I commit to Division II, University of Indianapolis. So we'll talk to Matthew about kind of his commitment as well as the Stevenson Patriots, who are off to a tremendous start. Just saw them play Libertyville on Tuesday night, Joe.
Yeah.
Kind of dismantle the Wildcats. Rusty was there as well. So we'll talk some Stevenson basketball with Matthew. And then for the second half of the show, we'll kind of just give our general overview of the boys' basketball season here in Lake County, some observations of what you've seen so far. And you've been out, seeing quite a few games this year. So we'll get you and kind of Rusty's thoughts on the season thus far. But first, in a couple minutes, we'll be joined by Matthew Ambrose of the Stevenson Patriots.
Yeah, looking forward to talking to Matthew. He's 3-year varsity now, 3-year varsity starter, and it's such a good interview. I think our listeners are going to enjoy listening to Matthew at length. But we'll learn more about Stevenson off to a 6-0 start. Have to ask him some questions about his dad, who's one of the best in Illinois. We talked a little bit about Pat Ambrose last week and guys wanting to play for him, dads and moms wanting their kids to play for Pat Ambrose. And, of course, Matthew grew up watching one of the best we've ever seen around here, certainly, in Jalen Brunson. So I know that what a great experience that was not only for him, but his brother Evan is on the team again this year, starting in the backcourt. So looking forward to talking with him. And Stevenson has not disappointed by any means. We figured going into this season, John, they would be, I think, the top team in Lake County, certainly coming off that sectional championship a year ago. And then they basically brought everybody back. And we knew they'd be strong. We knew Mundelein would be strong. Mundeline's really been good, too, also undefeated. They keep rolling. So those two teams have been the best so far that I've seen. Am I missing anybody, Rusty? Right? It's really been Stevenson and Mundelein still undefeated. I'm trying to think if I've missed anyone along the way here in Lake County. But that's our only undefeated teams.
I think you're right on that. Right now, those are the ones that are standing above the crowd.
Yeah. And some teams are a little down. Libertyville's off to a great start, and then both of you guys were out there the other night, man, and they really got whacked. And Libertyville, pretty much everybody back too, except for Josh Steinhaus. But, wow, I didn't see that one, but you guys have to tell me about that one.
I think Zion you got to keep an eye on, too. I know you haven't seen him yet.
And I'll see him tomorrow night,
Central.
Friday night.
They've got that guy Aguilar.
Yes, we are not related. He looks just like me, though, and he's almost as athletic as me, Amar Aguilar. Yeah, he is. I tell you, he is fun to watch. Last year I wrote about the difference in physicality and maturity as far as the way they look physically with him and Evan Ambrose, because Evan Ambrose and Amar are the same age. Same grade in school. Amar looks like he's in college already. He's got a body that, like he looks like John Kerr almost. He is so cut. And then Evan looks like he's 12, and he's adorable, So there's such a contrast. And Evan had such a good sense of humor about that when I talked to him about that last year. It was after the Zion game at Stevenson, which, again, I'll be covering those teams Friday night at Stevenson, Zion, but Amar Aguilar he is a beast. He's going to be a Division I player, I think.
Well, and the reason we know there's no relation to him and Joe is because he's good at basketball.
Oh, right. Well, there you go.
So that would be one way to eliminate any type of bloodline connection there with Joe. So, again, we'll be talking some Stevenson hoops here in just a few minutes with Matthew Ambrose of the Patriots. And one observation I thought from the game on Tuesday, Joe, and Rusty as well, was how would Stevenson come out? This is their first home game. Mm-hmm. Pretty good student section crowd, I thought, for Tuesday night. I know it's been something I talked to Trish Bedhauser, their athletic director. That's been an initiative to get more student involvement, not just in the boys, but the girls. And I think at other events as well this year. So just in terms of, more notice of games, having probably the players, let the students know more on social media about what's happening. But I thought that the atmosphere was tremendous for Tuesday night, and they came out early in that game, did not allow a basket for the first 6 minutes of the game. And they established, this is Stevenson. We're ranked number 1 in the Daily Herald for a reason. And we're going to come out early and show that we are who we are and that we are the top gun of Lake County.
Yeah, and you never have to worry about Stevenson with Pat Ambrose being not prepared or something blindsiding them. So as far as the attendance, weekday attendance, I'm guessing that's got to be a problem. I haven't talked to every athletic director, every coach, but that's got to be a problem everywhere. I just know, again, with my daughter going to McHenry, and sometimes, it's like, I think, I've said numerous times, she's a theater music kid. I don't think once she's entertained really the thought of going to a basketball game during the week. Now, she does some pep band stuff too, and that's a little different because then you should be going and she has to go, whatever. But I just think these kids today, John, are so, as we know, we've talked about it, Rusty, they are so busy between extracurricular stuff they have going on at school, the homework. My wife and I are always saying, did we have this much homework when we were in high school? Like, I don't think so. It's amazing. I think kids are just so busy during the week to take even just a 2-hour break out of your night. Man, that's huge. I mean, unless you just have nothing else going on and maybe you did all your homework during the day. But for a lot of these kids, I think they're so busy. Now, Friday night, Saturday's a little different, but I'm guessing that's the case at a lot of schools. Now, some aren't as bad as others, but I think that's an issue probably not only in the county, but probably everywhere.
Yeah, but one guy who always puts on a great show for the Stevenson Patriots and somebody who is a leader this year as a senior joins us now. His name is Matthew Ambrose of Stevenson. How are you, Matthew?
Hello. I'm doing well. Thank you guys for having me.
Well, first, Matthew, first question for you is you guys opener on Tuesday night against Libertyville. Big crowd on hand there to start the conference season as well as your home schedule. What did you like best about how you guys played against the Wildcats on Tuesday?
Yeah, I thought we gave a really good effort on Tuesday, kind of fired up on it for our first home opener and kind of had that big student section crowd, which was awesome for a Tuesday night because everyone's kind of rallying around us this year and how we lost last year. Everyone's really excited, kind of bringing the school together kind of by playing, and it was really cool to see the community and everyone there kind of supporting, and then we kind of came out on top and played really well also, so that was really a positive as well.
Hey, Matt, it's Joe Aguilar at the Daily Herald. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Thanks for coming on the show with us. Hey, we were just talking before you joined us here on the air about weekday attendance for basketball games, not only the guys but the girls, and I was just saying, this is my 2 cents, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it. I mean, you guys in high school today, whether you're a senior or a junior, sophomore, whatever, are so busy with this, your extracurricular things, whether you're in a sport or theater, cheer, whatever, choir, and then with the amount of homework you guys typically will have during the week, is it just a matter of kids are so busy with what they have going on in their own lives, and maybe that to ask for a student to take 2 hours out of their night during the week, sometimes it's just tough to ask. What's the thought among kids? Like, do you see kids in school and they're like, hey, you coming to my basketball game tonight? Like, are you on the team? Who are you? Or how much are they aware of what else, other kind of stuff is going on in the school and trying to make time to go see, whether it's a game or a concert?
Yeah, most definitely. They're obviously kids are really busy nowadays and kind of doing a lot of different things with their life, so it's hard to get everyone there. So our school does a really nice job of kind of putting things on social media, Twitter, kind of trying to promote the games, and then we do it a little bit as athletes. We kind of go around and say like, oh, you come to our game, kind of put it on our social media, try to kind of raise that awareness to come. But especially like you said, on a weeknight, it's really hard to kind of get everyone there. That's why when we do have those home Friday night games like coming up, and that's the really big one. It's like that's like football. That's like football. The home Friday night like basketball game. That's kind of where you want to be with all your other students. So we had a great turnout on Tuesday, which was really cool because everyone's kind of excited about this basketball team. So we're hoping we can get even more on Friday night against Zion at home.
Hey, Matthew, congrats also on your commitment to Indianapolis. I had a good conversation with your dad at the beginning of the season about your decision to choose Indianapolis, and basically, he said, it checked a lot of the boxes. He goes, not that you want to check every box. I mean, sometimes you kind of, paint yourself into a corner when you do that. But one thing that he said that was interesting to me, and I think other high school kids could maybe relate to this, or maybe you can give us some good perspective about not necessarily needing to stockpile offers. Like your dad was saying, like, we didn't need to get 20 offers or double-digit offers. We were looking for the fit for you, certainly. But what worked? And can you elaborate on that a little bit about not necessarily needing the 24 offers just to say, hey, by the way, did you see that I got offered again by this school? Like, hey, Indianapolis works for me. That's where I want to go. I'm cool, and I'm going to commit.
Yeah, kind of as I went through the process, that's a lot of kids, and understandably so. I was kind of the same way. At first, it was like, oh, I want this offer, I want this offer, I want this, and kind of you're all about Division I. But at the end of the day, it's kind of all about fit and kind of the right level and kind of the right place for you. And after I kind of went on my official there, I was like, I can just see this is kind of the place where I want to be. Had a great family atmosphere, loved the coaches, loved the players, and it's a place where I think I can fit and really kind of. With my kind of the majors and things like that, I want to go on with Indianapolis being their big city right there. It's really nice in that situation. So kind of checked a lot of those boxes. Like you said, it's not all about checking boxes, but it was just kind of just going through the process. I felt like, oh, it's not all about Division I. I mean, Division I, it's the label more than it is the kind of that's not that much different than Division II, and kind of seeing a couple of the games, and I saw Indianapolis play at Xavier, which was pretty cool for an exhibition game. Then they obviously beat Loyola Chicago. So a team like that, where I think I can kind of hopefully earlier in my career rather than later can kind of get some minutes and play. It should be pretty cool. And they just found the right fit there.
Yeah, our guest is Matthew Ambrose. He is a senior guard for the Stevenson Patriots. The Patriots 6-0 now and 1-0 in the conference after win over Libertyville on Tuesday night. Again, Ambrose and Matt Kasnikoff and R.J. Holmes and Matthew's little brother, Evan Ambrose, really kind of leading the way in that game. And that gets to my question, Matthew, which is if you watch the game and you watch it with an astute eye, you could see how you contributed to that victory last night. But here's the thing is you didn't get a high point total, right? I mean, Kasnikoff, we talked about this last time. You had talked on the phone. His improvement this year. You see RJ kind of getting those double-doubles, which he is so known for, but we know that he's improving in other areas as well. And then your brother Evan, obviously contributing on defense and scoring as well. What are things that you're focusing on this year? What is that refinement, that game within the game? Now that the commitment's out of the way, you know where you're going to college. Now it's about Stevenson. It's about this team this year. What are things that maybe don't show up on the box score, but when you're watching film with your dad, you're saying, hey, this is where I need to improve. This is an area of almost like the very aptitude of basketball or the AP, right, of basketball, which your dad talks about, right, that you're focusing on.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of obviously I've kind of been on this varsity team for 3 years now, and kind of just focusing on bringing that leadership to everyone and kind of making sure no one stays off the test. And obviously you can see 1 through 5, we got a couple players on the bench. Everyone can kind of score. We're not really having a problem doing that. So I was trying to, especially against Libertyville, and I had Garden Jackson Watson, one of their best players that I played AAU with a lot and know a lot about. I was really focusing a lot and putting a lot of energy into the defensive end, kind of making sure that he wasn't kind of getting his shots and playing. Mostly focusing on defense and kind of rebounding last night just because I had to get a lot better with that. And just kind of going off of that is like when other teams, like we played Westinghouse the other night and I scored a decent amount to start and then they play a box and won the rest of the game or they'll face guard and things like that. And like we enjoy that. We love when that happens. I mean, obviously it's a little frustrating. It's like, oh, like you're kind of taken out of the game, but that's just like the rest of our team can do it, man. Like they're really good players and like they can put it up just as much. So if they want to do that and we run a ball screen and they want to turn the corner, they don't want to help, we'll take the layup then too. Whatever is fine. And we're kind of getting a lot better with that kind of facing. A lot of teams are going to kind of take their best shot at us and we're kind of getting the best shot at everyone. So we just got to kind of learn to beat different styles. And we've been enjoying doing that and doing pretty well with that so far.
Hey, Matthew, I wanted to touch on something John mentioned in his last question here about watching film. I mean, that's a phrase we hear all the time, whether it's basketball, football, whatever. But being the son of a coach, what are your earliest memories of watching film? And when you watch film with a coach who happens to be your dad, what are some of the things he points out, or what are you watching in particular? Because I'm guessing they're different than for maybe what the average fan would be watching when they're just watching a game. What are some of the things like you guys look for, your dad, you, when you're watching film of an opponent?
Oh yeah, even when you come off your best game and you walk into film the next day, that next morning, you know there's going to be multiple things you're going to get better at. Is we played obviously really well against Libertyville, and we watched some film on it yesterday, and in the first 2 minutes you can see 10 things we did wrong. We can do better. So he's kind of looking for everything, especially on the defensive end and kind of intensity. And honestly, we're looking for those basketball things, but he's also even looking for those little intangible things where it's kind of like, look, your teammate fell here, we all got to go help him up here. Your teammate got hit hard here, I'll go help him. Kind of things like that. All those little things that bring the team together, kind of looking for those. And then obviously kind of that defensive stance and kind of being always ready and kind of in the right places. So obviously he looks for those X's and O's, but he also makes a big deal of those other little things that you can easily control that make the team better as well.
And I'm guessing there's also part of that, like watching the opponent, like, watch, this guy always goes to his right. Or watch, here comes that move he's going to do. Those kind of little nuances, right?
Yeah, for sure. We watch a ton of film on other teams, got multiple games on other teams, and kind of just love to kind of dissect. Like we say, kind of, we played Libertyville on Tuesday, but we were playing them in practice on 2 days before, Saturday and Monday. We were practicing to beat them. Those are the times where you're really prepared to beat a team. obviously the shots will fall, won't fall, kind of, but we always got to pride ourselves on that defense, and we know kind of the ins and outs of the other teams and everything they do, and we take that stuff real seriously for sure.
Visiting with Matthew Ambrose, senior guard for Stevenson's basketball team here on the John and Joe Show. Hey, Matthew, one more here for me regarding that. Give us a pet peeve of your dad, like when he's watching film, or maybe even during a game, like, it's happening again, this guy, or we're not doing this. I mean, there's got to be some like pet peeve, or maybe there's 20 of them that he has when it comes to this game.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's got so many of them in practice and film, kind of. Just some of them in the little basic things that you think like they really go a long way, like little things like talking on the defensive end, kind of really not being that mute, quiet team, because we think that's gotten us sometimes before. We don't talk and communicate enough, so we got to be on the same page. Little things like helping each other up in film, or kind of not being weak on a screen, kind of moving and setting up your screen. And we'll find we didn't set the screen correct here. This guy did it wrong. The screener was wrong, but also the guy coming off of it was wrong. And just kind of fixing everything, kind of. We want everything to be perfect. Obviously, not everything's perfect, but that's what we shoot for, and he really corrects everything. So he's got many pet peeves, but those are just some of them, kind of setting solid screens and helping your teammates and kind of talking and communicating.
Yeah, Matthew, does anybody do a really good impression of your dad? Like anybody on the team who does the best?
What is that?
Anybody on the team who does the best impression of your dad?
Oh, that's a good question. We got a couple of jokesters on the team. You don't have to name names, Matthew. That's okay. Yeah, we got a couple of jokesters on the team that really, we know when to be serious and we know when to kind of not be serious, because obviously that's a big part of the team too. You got to love being around each other. So we kind of use those nights where we don't have games on a weekend to try to hang out as a team, because that team chemistry and team camaraderie translates right to the floor. And I think you can tell pretty much that we love playing with each other, and everyone on the team, 1 through 16 we got this year, is really, really important to us.
Our last couple minutes here with Matthew Ambrose of Stevenson. Again, you're listening to Lake County Sports Talk, the John and Joe Show, here on a Thursday, December the 12th, here in our WRLR studios in Round Lake Beach, along with Rusty Silber. And Matthew, we talked a little bit about this last night, and I talked to RJ as well about team culture. And that's a term that's thrown around a lot now in sports. Teams talk about culture building and the importance of building culture. But I think at Stevenson, it's a real thing because of the success you guys have had. And every year, you tweak it, right? There's different things you add, different layers you add to it. Just like your dad says, hey, we don't run the same sets every year. We might have the same players, which you have this year, with maybe a few new guys. One is Jacob Tenner, very impressive from what I saw from him last night. What are some different things you can share with us from a team culture perspective this year that you guys have added to help improve and make sure that this team gets to that next stage? I mean, look, even if you guys, I know you guys have a goal to make it downstate this year, but even if basketball's a funny game, strange things can happen. But even if you don't make it, you can still say, hey, we had a great experience as a team, and that's because of these specific reasons. What are a couple of those things maybe you can share with us that is really about team unity and about this team kind of, digging into more of that DNA this year, right? Which I know is something you've talked about as well as RJ.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of, like you said, that DNA, that's kind of one of our main slogans this year. Last year's we always have a team slogan. Last year's kind of together as one. This year's DNA, we kind of obviously like to kind of have that team slogan that we can really go by, that we kind of do. And like you said, those other things that we're going kind of above and beyond. We're actually reading a book this year. We read one last year, but this year we're really taking it seriously, and we're reading a book called Attitude, and it's just kind of the acronyms of Attitude are really showing us, and we're having kind of partnerships kind of before practice every couple of days, kind of make a presentation and kind of stand up in front of the team and kind of present this. And we know like we can get better at so many things, and those are the little things that get looked past, like those little things of attitude and kind of teamwork and intensity and things like that you really have to bring to a team to make a team successful. So that's kind of one thing we're doing right now. And then obviously like we're going to do some service projects and kind of things like that where we really build team camaraderie and go above and beyond in that aspect.
Hey, Matthew, one more for me for you, then we'll let you go. We didn't get you out of class or something, like we're not going to get in trouble, are we, or anything like that?
Oh, yeah. No, you're all good. Nope, I'm all good right now.
Good. Hey, the best teams in Lake County, certainly in the first month there, have been you guys and Mundelein, which is also undefeated, and they've gotten a nice boost from Trey Baker, who played with you guys the last couple of years. I know Trey grew up in Mundelein, but are you surprised at what Trey's been able to do? And what can you tell us about Trey? Because this will be kind of create an interesting dynamic when you guys play them. I don't. You guys don't play Mundelein until after the new year. But what can you tell us about Trey? Because he's really been lighting it up, and I know we saw flashes of that a little bit the last couple of years. But what can you tell us about Trey? And I guess, are you surprised at what he's been able to provide Mundelein?
Yeah, no, I'm not surprised at all. That's one kid that's had been around our program for a long time, and he's really a great kid. He competes, and he busts his ass every day, and that was his biggest thing in practice. He always yelled, compete. Just he's incredible at that. He's a great competitor and just always brings it all every day, and I'm not surprised. He's got a great work ethic, and wish him nothing but the best. But I mean, when we play him, we're gonna try to hopefully win on our home floor win. But like obviously off the court, he's a great kid, and the kid that is a really good kid, and wish him nothing but the best. I'm not surprised if anything that he's doing, obviously contributing greatly for them.
Hey, Matthew, I know you got a couple minutes here to grab a bite to eat before you go to class. I know you got to get back to class sort of in about 15 minutes here. So want to make sure
15, 18 minutes, I'm all good.
Hey, want to make sure you have a chance to get something to eat before you go to class. But, hey, Joe and I really appreciate you coming on. Again, great insight on so many things going on with the Stevenson program. And we'll look forward to chatting with you again real soon. And best luck against Zion on Friday night.
Yep, sounds good. Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. Love talking to you guys, and thank you for all the reporting and covering you do of our team.
Thanks, Matthew. I'll see you tomorrow night for the Zion Benton game, all right?
Yep, sounds good. See you then. Bye-bye.
That's Matthew Ambrose telling us a little bit more about what goes on behind the scenes with the Stevenson team.
Yeah, he's great.
And he just sounds like a coach's kid, doesn't he, Joe?
Yeah, I tell you what. I was telling his dad this after the super sectional game last year when they lost to Evanston about how good Matthew is in interviews. Now, again, I mean, you could tell. I mean, his dad is well-spoken. It's an educated family. But Matthew is again, John, how many times do we say this now? We get kids on this show, and they are so well-spoken and articulate and insightful. And Matthew is a pro. I mean, he is so good at this now. Not that he wasn't 2 years ago when he was a sophomore on varsity, but you can tell he's very comfortable now. And I know that's a lot of that's parenting, but that's also on the kid, right? Parents can only take so much credit for certain things like that. But he's wonderful. Not surprised. We knew he would be a good guest here on the show, and didn't disappoint by any means.
Not at all. And when we come back after the break, and as Rusty is potting up some Christmas music for us here, we're going to get into a little more Stevenson conversation. I want to talk to Joe and Rusty about kind of their schedule, because we're looking at a very top-heavy NSC so far. Yep. Early this season on the boys' side, they get a difficult holiday tournament coming up now at Hinsdale Central. We'll talk a little bit about their schedule and also some other boys' teams in Lake County when we come back here on the John and Joe Show for a Thursday. And let's take into that break with some really soothing holiday sounds via Rusty Silber. We'll be right back.
You're listening to 98.3 FM, WRLR LP, Round Lake, Illinois.
Having trouble moving the ball to finish your divorce or paternity matter? Child support or maintenance payments causing trouble with your salary cap? Sue Kamen is an experienced family law attorney who can coach you through mediation or fire a pass into the end zone at trial. To make an appointment in Antioch, Huntley, or Lake Zurich with Susan E. Kamen and Associates, their number is 847-847-7354.
Rocking around the Christmas tree, have a happy holiday. Everyone dancing merrily in the new old-fashioned way. Hey everybody, I'm Axel. WRLR 98.3 invites you to spend a fun and festive night celebrating the season with our band, Axe and the Hatchet Men. On Friday, December 13th, at the original Sundance Saloon in Mundelein, we'll be playing a set filled with rockin' holiday tunes, as well as play a mix of our own original songs, current hits, and plenty of rock and roll. This year, we're playing in support of WRLR Community Radio, where local bands like us can get their music heard and their stories told. All ages are welcome. There's a student discount, and tickets will be available at the door unless sold out in advance. You can secure your advance tickets now by contacting the station at studio@wrlr.fm or at another online seller to be announced soon.
So save the date, tell your friends. Come on out to the original Sundance Saloon on December 13th for the Axe and the Hatchet Men Holiday Show and help keep WRLR on the air. Ho ho, hope to see you there. Happy holidays.
Just hear those sleigh bells jingling, ring ting tingling too. Come on, it's lovely weather for a sleigh ride together.
Hi, I'm Frank Tarzeski, inviting you to listen to Music Matters every Friday from 1 to 4 p.m. right here on WRLR 98.3 on your FM dial. I play polkas, I play country, I play crazy songs, I play requests and jazz. That's Music Matters 1 to 4 p.m. right here on WRLR 98.3.
Cornicchione's New York-style pizzeria in Antioch at routes 83 and 173 is another proud sponsor of WRLR Sports. Cornicchione's pizza dough is made from scratch using a family recipe that originated in Brooklyn, New York. Their dough is proofed at least 24 hours. Cornicchione's menu includes pizzas, calzones, pasta, much more. They have dine-in, carry-out, and delivery. Their number is 224-308-1499.
You're listening to 98.3 FM, WRLR LP, Round Lake, Illinois.
Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, próspero año y felicidad. Feliz Navidad.
Welcome back to the John and Joe Show here for a Thursday, December 12th, 2019. We're talking boys basketball. We had Matthew Ambrose on the first half of the show. Great stuff from Matthew, talking about Stevenson basketball. Before we shift gears and chat a little bit more about the boys basketball season in Lake County, just a few minutes on Stevenson. And, Joe, is it possible that the biggest obstacle for the Patriots is going to be complacency? I only say that because the NSC, with the exception of Mundelein, on January the 10th, that game at home, which early indications are that game could a long way to go to determining who wins the conference. And they have a pretty good holiday tournament. They're their top seed there at Hinsdale Central. They'll face Homewood Flossmoor, DePaul Prep. I think Marian Catholic is also a number 2 seed there. But other than that, from a competition perspective, what's out there for them? Yeah, well, I'm going to say complacency is not the problem, and you know why, the number one reason why it won't be a problem. We were just talking to his dad. We were just talking to his son, rather, Pat Ambrose. Pat Ambrose won't allow it. They will not be unprepared going into any game. A good point, though, because the conference this year, was it last year, the last couple of years now, it was like 4 teams, right? I'll tell you the other team to watch on, too, and they haven't gotten off to a great start. That's Warren, but Juan De La Cruz is back. Josh Turner is back, and he only played a handful of games at the beginning. He played in the Thanksgiving tournament last year for Warren. We saw what a good football player he is. De La Cruz is come in 2 games. I think he's averaged 15 a game or something. And Juan was, I think, their second best player last year behind Adnan Sarancic, who's a really good scorer, good rebounder, good basketball player. So Warren, expect them to get a little better here now that they got their football guys back. Seamus Milliken, we know what a beast he is on the football field. Another guy that adds some muscle and toughness to them, probably coming off the bench. But so that's a team to watch. Can they beat Stevenson? Probably not. Can anyone beat Stevenson besides Mundelein? Probably not. We know Waukegan is really down. Lake Zurich is down again. This isn't the Kutzer, DeSerbo teams anymore. The J.R. Cezanne teams, they're down. So you take them out of the mix. Who am I missing? Libertyville, we think they're going to have a good year, but they just got destroyed by Stevenson. I expect that to be a closer game next time. They were without Blake Ellingson. Not that he's a 30-point difference, certainly the other night against Stevenson. So will they get complacency? Fair question. I just think not, and they'll play enough tough games during the regular season to make sure they're on their game.
You know, one thing to throw in about this, Joe, you're talking about all the teams in the North Suburban. You cannot take anybody out of the equation. Anybody can beat anybody on any given day. It's going to come down to who's going to play the best defense. And in watching that game the other night against Libertyville, the way Stevenson played defense in that game, that created their offense so many cases, especially in the first quarter and second quarter. Yeah, they got a little complacent in the second half, but you're up by so many points. But tell you the truth, Stevenson's got this mentality. Let's think back when Jalen Brunson was around. Jalen's not in this picture here, but Pat Ambrose, soon to be a Hall of Fame coach, he's done this for so many years. What is it, 22 years now? He knows how to install a game plan. He's got his kids to buy in it. As Matt Ambrose said, they know the ins and outs of basketball. They put it on the basketball court. Hey, they were a shot away of being at state last year, and they have that hungry feeling in them again, just like a few years back when Jalen was around.
Yeah, and speaking of Pat Ambrose, how can we forget to mention this? He was just inducted into the Illinois High School Basketball Coaches Association, such a mouthful, Hall of Fame, which was a no-brainer. He wasn't in yet. I guess I was surprised he wasn't in yet. But again, he's only been around 20-some years, 22 years, whatever it is now. So, but yeah, he went in along with John Stanzakevich at Warren and Brian Tucker, former Loyola coach, who's been at Barrington for a few years now. So all those guys are going into the Hall of Fame, along with our buddy Michael O'Brien at the Sun-Times, and Greg Swiderski, longtime Daily Herald freelance writer. Rusty's like, what about me?
No.
Someday, Rusty, you will go in.
Wait, Joe, I'm talking about what about all three of us? Come on.
Well, I think lifetime achievement, right? Rusty?
One at a time there, I guess.
For you?
Right?
But
congrats to Ambrose again. That was a no-brainer. I mean,
and that was
Stanzakevich.
No, and that was a great point about Ambrose. You feel like that would have been done already because of how his achievements. Certainly he's been downstate twice with two different teams, and certainly has a chance to go third time. But look, of course, we can't have a Stevenson basketball conversation without Jalen Brunson coming up at some point in the conversation. His shadow looms large in everything that they do.
Yeah.
For good reason, because of the standard of excellence that he set during his time there. But we're now 5 seasons removed from that championship team. So all of the seniors that they're on this team now, they were in middle school. They were at Daniel Webster or whatever middle school they were on. Certainly Matthew and Evan, Patrick's sons, were around the program a lot. And if you watch Evan Ambrose play, and when Rusty and I were there on Tuesday, that was, aside from the play of Jacob Tanner, who played a little bit last year, but is now taking a bigger role with the graduation of Luke Chang from last year's team. Evan Ambrose is affected everything. I mean, Libertyville, where they missed Blake Ellingson, was somebody who could handle the basketball. Now, Libertyville will be better, as Coach Zerkowski said after the game. They win. They're very confident. They played very well in their Thanksgiving tournament. They went 3-1 in the St. Viator tournament. They beat St. Viator. They beat Prospect. They beat Glenbrook North in a very good overtime game. So he was very confident going in. Where they struggled in that game, what every team is going to against Stevenson, is handling the basketball and being able to get the ball inside and be able to get across the half-court line and get into your offense. Because they play such good man-to-man aggressive defense and help defense. And Evan Ambrose has a lot to do with that, because his ability to be able to not only take charges, but to be able to be strong with, if you put the ball on the floor, you got 2 or 3 hands swiping at you, going down low for steals, and also his scoring ability to be able to drive and penetrate as well. So, look, I think Stevenson is the total package. I only brought that up to you guys because this team is not going to regress in terms of their own level of intensity. It's just what other good games or what other good teams are they going to play? And I think some strategic scheduling, they're going to be in this Derrick Rose Invitational. I know they're going to play OPRF.
Yep.
I think on Saturday, actually.
Yeah, that's sweet.
So that was, I think, a good piece of scheduling on their part. And Joe, I want to ask you about Libertyville, a team that went in very, very strong, had won 4 games in a row. Mm-hmm. Again, this is a team that it is Brian Zerkowski's team at this point. He came up with a lot of these guys as a sophomore coach. A team that certainly would be in that second tier under Stevenson.
Yeah, I think they're strong. I guess the question with all these teams is, and it's like this with every team every year, is injuries. Can you avoid the big injury? Because right now, anyway, you're not seeing. I mean, Stevenson is not going. I haven't seen them play yet, but just looking at the box scores and seeing who's scoring, who's not, they're not going 10 deep off the bench. Mundelein isn't going 10 deep. Libertyville isn't going 10 deep. I think Libertyville might not even have 10 players on the roster. I think they have 12 actually, but not a lot. So you're relying, and they're all veteran players. Like the guys we're going to be mentioning throughout this winter when we talk about those three teams in particular are all guys we've talked about the last year, 2 years now. I mean, they're all veteran guys, whether they were starters or key guys off the bench. So, Stevenson, too, John, your point about Evan Ambrose, and we saw this last year when Pat brought him up early in the season, and this is part of the reason I was talking about, when I wrote last year about him and Amar Aguilar, is Evan, again, looks so young, but he has this element of toughness, and Pat even said, he goes, he's tougher than me and Matthew, and he doesn't look the part, but he's scrappy, he's fearless. Does that come with being the son of a coach? I don't know. I don't know if you can really teach that kind of thing. I think with some kids, and we see it in every sport, football, hockey, basketball, teaching toughness. Sometimes you can get a little bit, you can kind of like squeeze it out of somebody for a while, but ultimately they result to being, revert to being really who they are. But Evan has that innately, I think, that toughness about him. So you don't underestimate his size. And maybe he's grown this year because last year he was probably like 5'7" or so. But he's got that quality which they need, and he can also shoot it. But that's a team like Mundelein where you've got four guys, in Libertyville, four guys really who can shoot it from the arc.
Yeah, and the one guy who Matthew mentioned as well, who was very impressive on Tuesday night as well, is the improvement and the development of Kaznikov. I'm pulling up his name, making sure I pronounce it correctly.
Yeah.
And
the Russian Bear. They call him.
Bear just to say Russian Bear. Bear to say Russian Bear. Here's somebody who
Kaznikov,
was a perimeter shooter a year ago, but now you can tell from a lower body strength perspective, his ability to body against guys, to be able to create separation, and somebody who not only can also take a really good first step and get around guys. That's what I was most impressed with him as well, aside from his shooting, but we knew he could shoot it a year ago. And John Atunis is just one of these Mr. Everything guys who you don't need him to score 15 points a game, just like you don't need Matthew Ambrose to score 15 points a game.
Atunis can if you need him to. That's
absolutely, he can. Again, a rebounder. Again, they've got so many guys who do everything well. There might be a game where he needs to score 18 points. It might be a game where he scores 6 points, and he can do that. And, of course, we forget about R.J. Holmes, who is still improving as we go along this season. Just, again, it's a refinement thing. It's like I was having a conversation with Ambrose in the hallway, and I thought RJ, he had 14 points in that game, double-digit rebounds, and Coach Ambrose is saying, hey, we want more. We want more. This is AP basketball, right? Mm-hmm. And this is a guy who wants to be an electrical engineer, so he's taking a lot of AP classes. He's treating basketball just like he would his academics in terms of just getting a little bit better here, a little bit better with his help side defense, a little help maybe with his drop step, with that kind of one-handed shot, whatever it might be. It's about just that refinement this year, and that's why I asked Matthew about kind of their team slogan this year, which is kind of more that DNA, which is how do we get a little bit deeper into kind of what our program has been improving on what's already pretty good.
Yeah, I like that. AP basketball. Was that Pat Ambrose?
That was Ambrose. Actually said that. Just kind of an offhand comment to RJ when I asked him about a question about the game.
Gotcha. Yeah, I love that though, right? And you think about it. I mean, that's what it is, especially when you have high expectations, right? I mean, if you're a team that's maybe going to win 5 to 10 games this year. Maybe it's not AP basketball, but really and truthfully, that's what it is. I mean, this is the highest basketball at the high, the highest high school basketball in the state. So yeah, all these years doing this, I've never looked at it that way, but I think that's a fair comp and a good way of looking at it. So yeah, it should be harder. There should be higher expectation or higher demands for this. It's not always going to be fun, or there's got to be some heavy lifting, not literally necessarily involved there. So I like that AP basketball.
Yeah, I don't think that's an exact class, Joe. I don't know if you can enroll in AP basketball at Stevenson, but
you win state.
That'd be more of an extracurricular.
Yeah,
I would have.
Would that be cool?
I would have loved that class, and I would have done very well as opposed to calculus or geometry, or as far as I would in math. But we're talking boys basketball here on the John and Joe Show here for a Thursday here, December 19th. December 12th. We're also joined by Rusty here in the studios at Round Lake Beach.
And Carson, we got to mention Carson.
Well, we got Carson as well.
Carson does his show on Mondays, 4 to 5. 4 to 5. Carson, he's such a cool kid, not only because he went to Mundelein where I went, but he goes to school at the University of Iowa, and he comes back here and does this show. Is that right? Yeah. Can we put him on the mic real quick here?
And where's the Iowa gear?
Yeah.
This guy's decked out here all Raiders
gear
black.
on.
I thought you see a little kind of yellow. Isn't Iowa like the kind of yellow and black?
I got the bumper sticker on the car. Big game against Iowa State tonight.
But Carson, right? I mean, you're going to school at the University of Iowa. I know you just finished up finals, you said, and we trust you got all A's.
This semester I stayed home just to save some money, but I'm going back in the spring, so I'll miss all you guys next semester.
Okay.
So.
But this kid's, we talk about work ethic and kids who are doing everything they can. People always, ask, like, even though we're newspaper guys, how do you make it? How do you get the break in this business, this industry, which is so competitive and so being challenged and tugged in so many directions now with internet and so forth, and just advertising and try to generate revenue for the newspaper industry. But how do you get in it? You do stuff like what Carson does, and that's really making a lot of sacrifices. So, and he's good on the air too. I've caught his show a couple times, and he does a really nice job. So, anyway, it's good to have him in studio here. And
yeah,
I'm
just going to say though, Carson, though, if you're going to University of Iowa, you got to throw in some gold in there. I mean, a little bit of yellow, decked out in black. I mean, John Gruden would be very happy to see you. I mean, he would probably give you a, hey, that's my guy.
He's got his Raiders hoodie on and his Raiders cap on.
I got to support the Raiders for the last home game in Oakland ever. So.
That's right. They moved to Las Vegas, right, for the Raiders starting next year. So, no, good to have someone else in the studio here with us talking basketball. And we want to make sure we mention this week's Game of the Week. I know Rusty's out broadcasting. This will be a Northern Lake County game. Rusty, where are you going to be at this weekend?
We'll be at Lakes High School, in which the Eagles will host the Rams, and both teams are coming off wins over the last couple of nights. So this is going to be pretty promising.
Yeah,
I like
that's Saturday.
Saturday
right?
afternoon.
I think I'm going to that. What time is it? 2:30?
Yes, it's 2:30. We'll be on at 2 o'clock.
Okay. Or maybe you're going to do that. I mean, I'll do another game. Did we talk about that?
Yeah, we did.
I forgot. All right.
We'll talk after.
We'll forget. I'll figure it out.
No, this would be the perfect forum for you guys to discuss it, actually. Carson and I will step outside. We'll talk Raiders football, and you guys can figure out the schedule for the Daily Herald for the week.
One thing about this game, it's really interesting because Brian Santelli got his first win, didn't he?
Yes, I covered it. It was great.
Yeah, and I got to say this. I got to say this because Joe got on social media and took this great picture from the wall. And I told Joe, I said, this would have been great for the newspaper. With his story, put that picture up on the wall because this is his first career victory, and he went to school at Grays Lake Central.
Yeah, 2005, right? I think I had 2005 graduate. Brian Centella. We've covered every Centella that's come through Grays Lake. I mean, it is they are like a household name in Grays Lake. But Brian Centella, who was a great star at Grays Lake, and then had a real great college career at Loris, I believe. First-year head coach there, got their first win last Saturday night against Grays Lake North. And I'm looking for Todd Grunlow, the Grays Lake North coach, after the game, and I missed him after the game. But I'm in the hallway there. Every school has their wall of fame there. And lo and behold, there's the picture right there. Smacks me right in the face of Brian Centella. Graduated with Leah Corcoran, who was the softball coach at Grays Lake North. But, it's funny because we've been doing this for so long, not only you, John, but Rusty certainly. If I ever start looking at those walls of fame at schools I go to, like I'm there for like 10 minutes, and I'm like, I'm gonna miss tip off because I'm like, I covered that. Oh, I remember that kid. Oh yeah, I'm like having this internal conversation with myself, like all my memories of that kid and that kid. But that was funny. So, but Brian Centella, who married another Grays Lake athlete, Anna Snyder, who was a great softball player. They've got a cute little girl now, so it's kind of really cool.
Is there a photograph of a young Joe Aguilar at the Mundelein Wall of Fame on that?
There is not. In fact, they used to have photos of
boys soccer.
I don't know if they moved
fall
them.
Of 81.
One of my good buddies, Jonathan Zapata, who is the best soccer player we've ever had at Mundelein, even all the decades since we've graduated. And his photo used to be up there, and I don't see it anymore. So I don't know if they took it down, but maybe they just moved it somewhere, and it's not in that main corridor. But anyway, it's always kind of fun because there'll be pictures, going way back to 60s, 70s of athletes have come through before my day, and it's fun to look at that stuff.
And some of those, too, when you walk through the schools as well, is they've kind of run out of wall space.
Yeah,
so I think you wonder, okay, you've got it up until a certain year.
Yeah.
And where's the last decade? Because they had to move it to a different part of the school
Maybe that's
or
it.
kind
I
of
don't know.
somewhere else. So, but yeah, that's kind of a cool thing to still have those kind of wall of fame and see those kind of
Oh, I dig
photographs
it. Yeah, I dig
over
it.
the years. So,
But yeah, you won't find me.
no, or myself. I can't speak for Rusty, but maybe he's up there.
No, he's not.
Well, actually, I was up there on the Wall of Fame back
What?
where I graduated from Maine East. I was up there with a baseball team back in 1980 something. You know.
Okay.
You were team manager?
80 something?
yeah.
Are you sure on the year?
Huh?
Are you sure? You're an 81 grad?
It's not on the wall anymore. When I went back to Maine East for Thanksgiving
I'm
tour,
just
it's
trying to
long
age you a
gone
little
now
there.
because
I'm
they're
just
doing
teasing
renovations
you.
over there. So I did have partial time on the field, but I was more on the bench.
Well, that's,
in those days.
that's why we do what we
That's
do
why
now.
we choose to write about
Yeah.
the accomplishments of
Tell
others
others
as
stories.
opposed to our accomplishments, right? Exactly. So, again, you're listening to Lake County Sports Talk here. John, Joe, and Rusty here for a couple more minutes here on a Thursday. And you talked about the game of the week, Joe, this week at Lakes. And just for a couple minutes here, your observations early of the Northern Lake County Conference. I know, Grant has been a team that's been there 1-2, right, the last couple of years and been pretty
They're
successful
down.
in that. So just your observations and just your overall thoughts on kind of that conference this year. And I know our buddy Tim Bowen is now taking
Yes.
over at Antioch.
Yeah,
A guy who's been around quite a bit, former coach at Carmel. I expect they'll be a little bit better, just with some toughness that he'll instill with that program.
You got it. You know what Tim Bowen's going to bring, and they're already exhibiting that toughness from what I've heard. I got to go out and see Antioch real soon here. I'll tell you what, the team that's been the nice story so far. Would you believe I'm going to say this? You know where I'm going, Rusty. Round Lake, which beat Antioch. Antioch went 2-1 down at that Woodstock Hoops for Healing tournament to start the year. Nice start for them. Round Lake beats them, and then Round Lake picked up another win this week against
Elmwood Park.
No, they lost to Elmwood Park, but they picked up another conference win this week. So they're 2-0 in conference. I had to look back.
Oh, Grant. They beat Grant.
Oh, they beat Grant. Yes. Thank you. So I look back, I have all the records from the last, since I've been with the Daily Herald, 19 years. And I'm looking back and thinking, I'll probably have to go back a year or two to find out the last time Round Lake won a conference game. I had to go back 5 years to find the last time Round Lake had won a conference game. So they had never won an NLCC game up until last weekend. And so going back to the NSC Prairie Day, so it was December of 2014 or 15 that they won a conference game. So congrats to Round Lake, Jay Iden. They've got Devontae McNeil's our player of the week in Thursday's Daily Herald. Hakeem Williams, who averaged like a double-double last year. Kid's a beast. So Jay Iden doing some good things there at Round Lake.
The thing is, I sent you a note on this, too. I'd like to know the last time they started out the conference 2-0. And this might go back
because
to
even further,
a decade ago. This might go back to the Bob Ward. No, I think a little bit later than that.
I'm going to have to look. It's been a long time, but I know that year that they won the last time they'd won a conference game, that was in early December. So they didn't win again. They didn't win another conference game the rest of the year. So let alone 2-0, they didn't win two conference games that year. So I'm going to have to dig that up if I've got enough time, because that might be a long search to find that. The other team that's good too, watch out for them, is Wakanda. Donovan Carter, who's been a 2-year All-Area player for us, he's not a revelation. He's good. He's scoring. He's a 20-point-per-game guy. Donovan Carter is a real smooth player. He's about 6'4". It's funny because last year he was wearing goggles second half of the year. Now his brother's on the team, Garrison, who's a sophomore, and they look very similar. I mean, I almost look like twins. The first night I saw them opening night at Johnsburg against Grace Lake North, and I see Donovan. I think, wait, is that Donovan? Wait, who's that? Wait a minute. I was really confused, and I realized, I'm like, it's got to be his brother. It is his brother. It's Garrison Carter, who's a good rebounder. He can shoot it a little too, but Donovan, he can stroke it. I'll tell you what, I love when you see like a real just smooth jump shot. That's a beautiful thing. Donovan has one of those jump shots. So he's a kid who, I think they're 5-2. That NLCC with North Chicago being down again, I think they're going to be right in the thick of that. Grace Lake Central, they got Grant Harding, who's just like one of the largest guys in the conference. The kid's like 6'7". They got some nice pieces there. Round Lake, who knows? I mean, Antioch with Bowen. I mean, they're gonna get in your face. He's got some freshmen up, so it'll be. There's some, unlike the NSC where we think it's Stevenson Mudline. The NLCC to me could be pretty wide open. And Grace Lake North's got a real good freshman too. And Dominic Jankowski, by the way.
Joe. My thought right now, as you look at the full picture here, It's anybody. It's anybody's ball game at this point of the season. It's early. You get hot, you may run away with this whole conference. It's wide open. This is completely different than what we have seen for the last few years. It's just totally different.
Grant graduated everybody. They still got some nice pieces. Michael Ashley's playing really good basketball for them. Real good baseball player, throws really hard. He's playing really well. They have a freshman up, Chad Keesgan. He's going to be fun writing about and covering the next 3-4 years here. He's really good, but they got to get some games under their belt. They have a lot of kids playing who didn't play a lot last year, so they might be taking their lumps early here, Grant. They kind of already have, but Wayne Bosworth knows what he's doing, certainly, and they'll figure things out.
And one team, Joe Carmel, it's safe to say this might be a little bit of a rebuilding season. A little bit. I think for the Corsairs. They still have Kamari Wilson, tremendous player, has
Bryce
not committed
Moore.
yet. Bryce Moore, very impressed with him.
Yep.
Saw them play against Nazareth. Can shoot it. Is also somebody who's a good stretch player, can defend. Pretty good size on him. But they're young.
Yeah.
And that conference is just an absolute meat grinder.
Right.
That ESCC. I mean, a Notre Dame team that will probably might win a state championship in Class 3A. I mean, they are that talented of a team, and you've got to play Bennett as well, and Vider might be a little bit down this year, but they're still going to be good.
Yeah.
So Carmel, just probably a rebuilding year for Zach Ryan, but as he puts some pieces in place this year in the ESCC. Well, that will do it here for a Thursday, again, December the 12th. We've been talking hoops here with Joe, and we had Matthew Ambrose on the show. I want to thank him for kind of stepping in here and calling in, and great conversation about Stevenson. And again, as a team that wants to get, let's make that final shot this year, right? It's getting down to Peoria this year, in a team that, with the exception of Mundelein, we'll see how well they're challenged. I mean, Libertyville could be up there, but maybe when they face them again at their place, they'll play a little bit better. And we got into some NLCC conversation as well for this week. But that'll do it again for the John and Joe Show here for a Thursday. We'll have more boys conversation, maybe a little bit of girls next week as well. And we're also going to talk some football next week because the official signing date is the 18th. Yes. We'll have some Lake County football players that have committed to their colleges, so we'll get into some football conversation as well. Again, happy holidays, everybody. For Rusty and Joe, I'm John. We'll talk to everybody next week.
See ya.
You're listening to 98.3 FM, WRLR LP, Round Lake, Illinois.
Today's sports broadcast is made possible by O'Keefe, Lewis, and Bruno PC. Proud to sponsor another season of Lake County High School sports broadcasts on WRLR 98.3 FM. Helping home buyers, sellers, and others with real estate transactions. O'Keefe, Lewis, and Bruno PC can be reached at 847-675-4790.
When I'm under, I'm weightless, floating away, and all I think about is doing it again.
Michael Swan is under the influence of his volunteer swim coach. Spending a little time coaching, he helps Michael stay off drugs. Be a coach, a mentor, a volunteer. No matter what it is, you have something to offer. Log on to helpyourcommunity.org or call 877-KIDS-313 and be an influence on the kids in your community. Brought to you by the Office of National Drug Control Policy and the Ad Council.
Cornicchione's New York-style pizzeria in Antioch at routes 83 and 173 is another proud sponsor of WRLR Sports. Cornicchione's pizza dough is made from scratch using a family recipe that originated in Brooklyn, New York. Their dough is proofed at least 24 hours. Cornicchione's menu includes pizzas, calzones, pasta, much more. They have dine-in, carry-out, and delivery. Their number is 224-308-1499.
Parents, did you know that high school dropouts make 42% less than graduates? Someone will have to make up that difference, and chances are that will be you. That means paying 42% of their groceries.
Ooh, more candy.
42% of their dentist bills.
No more candy.
Even 42% of their therapy sessions.
It's all my dad's fault.
Save your money. Encourage your kids to stay in school. For help and advice, call 877-FORAKID. A message from the U.S. Army and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Carson Beck. Do you like your weekly dose of Lake County sports? I have a show for you. Tune in to Lake County Sports Scoop right here on 98.3 WRLR on Mondays from 4 to 5 p.m., where me and my co-host, Carmel Corsairs assistant boys basketball coach, Fidel Garcia, recap and preview all things Lake County sports.
You're listening to 98.3 FM, WRLR LP, Round Lake, Illinois. WRLR LP, Round Lake, Illinois.
Hello, this is Luke, and you're listening to 98.3 FM WRLR.
In a world of stress, the portal awaits. Step through, and escape to another world. This is The Mellow Show with Gary Z.
The Mellow Show.